this meeting to order. It's September 20th, 2021. And the first thing we need to do is approve the minutes of our meeting of August the 2nd, 2021. I hope you've all had a chance to glance at it and see if there were any mistakes or anything. I think it was correct.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes as submitted.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor state aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed, same. All righty. Okay, on our agenda today, the first thing we have is to discuss and consider the COA for property located at 700 East Main, COA number 2021-007.
All right. And y'all bear with me if you have to guide me through this. I haven't presented at HLPC in years. But our applicant today, let me skip. Are y'all seeing that on your screen?
No, we just see the Zoom.
We're seeing us.
Yeah, you need to see it.
It's sort of scary.
Okay.
Take it off.
You just have to skip it.
Please.
I don't want it.
I don't
I
either.
hide myself when I'm on Zoom meetings too, because I'm like, I don't want to look at that.
All my students do too, so they think I don't know they're there. They're not
When I
there.
teach Tai Chi, there's mirrors on both sides, and I tell the students to watch themselves. I don't watch myself.
It's like Inception.
Oh, there's the-
Okay, wonderful.
Oh, ta-da.
All came together, maybe.
Should turn this on too, that would help. There we go. So for our first one, COA 2021-007, the applicant is requesting to install a 22 by 30 inch bronze plaque on a pole at Eugenia Stern Park. This plaque will talk about the Gutierrez-McGee expedition of 1812 and 1813. In your packet, you got a draft of the text. Remember, the text is not up for approval by HLPC, but just for your enjoyment. So this plaque will be similar to one that is on the site already. There is a Eugenia Stern Park plaque there. There's also a 1914 or 1994 gazebo, a row of flags on the property, and also the treaty statue of Sam Houston and Chief Bowles. So the property itself is historic. All of the items on this property are not historic. A little fun history of it is that the piece of property was given from Sam Houston to Eugenia Stern for one of her birthdays in a deed of affection because she was his favorite out of all the Stern kids. I know that because we have the Stern Museum that I've run for years, and so I've talked about that piece of property a lot. But this plaque would be done by the Texas Society of the U.S. Daughters of 1812. And so based on city ordinance criteria B and K, this proposed construction is appropriate for this site. You can see with the red arrow is the existing plaque about Eugenia Stern Park, and then the little box is the proposed area that we would put the plaque in depending on where sprinkler heads are and things like that, but right in that area. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and one of the applicants is here as well.
Could we have, since Rachel is here, could we have Rachel Underwood come talk to us?
Yes. I didn't know much about Gutierrez-McGee until the state president charged me with putting a marker here in Nacogdoches, and y'all read the history part of it. And that's one of the 9 flags. It's the green emerald flag, which I learned about too. And so this was really the beginning of Gutierrez-McGee, and the ending was at the Battle of Medina, which is the bloodiest battle on the state. And they're trying to locate that battleground because through bones and things, because they have never really identified it. So there will be a beginning 1812 state marker, and then one at Medina for the ending of the expedition. So it's very interesting.
Yes.
But anyway, the state president, this is really her project, and the reason that she wanted this done is because in reading that thing, it seems like the U.S. was kind of going through the back door trying to get Spain and Mexico, Texas away from Spain and Mexico, because there was mention of meeting with Monroe and the Secretary of War. And I think implication is that they were encouraging McGee and Gutierrez to start this process. And so that's, because Texas was not a part of the U.S. in 1812, even though we have daughters of 1812 in Texas. So. is that-
Very interesting.
it is very interesting, and I've learned about these two gentlemen, and there were people who did survive that, and then went on to fight in the Battle of New Orleans.
Oh, good.
So, anyway, we wanted it in, the state president came, and she liked the Eugenia Stern Park because the flags are there. And so that's why we asked that it be put there. But we were gonna do it essentially like that one, so that there's not two big distinctions between the flags.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Thank you, Rachel.
All right, that's wonderful. Do we need any discussion or any comments? Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve COA 2021-007, based that it meets city ordinance criteria B and K, and
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor state aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Wonderful.
I don't
Yes.
know if we can take Ann. Did you see that she popped up a thing that said she was?
Oh,
She raised
oh,
her
is it-
hand.
She was a.
She did?
Okay.
She raised her hand.
All right.
Good.
Yes,
She
Ann
did a thumbs up. I think
And a
that's.
thumbs up too.
Great. I didn't even notice she had
Yeah,
rejoined us.
she'd actually typed something earlier, but I missed it and turned my head over.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Rachel.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you,
care of
Rachel.
yourself, Rachel. All righty. Next on the agenda is to discuss and consider a COA for property located at 207 East Main, COA 2021-008.
Thank you. So this property, if you're not familiar, is the former Morning Glory Yoga Studio, and then it was Gunpowder and Lace Boutique. They've moved out, and so we are going to have a Merle Norman boutique and spa downtown. We're all very excited about that. The applicant is requesting three different things. One is to paint the wood on the primary facade, which is already painted, to repaint it to a different color. Repair some rotten wood around the windows, and then paint that wood that they install. And then install an 11 by 12 foot sign between the transom windows and the decorative brickwork under the second story windows. And that sign will not be illuminated. It's made out of metal, and you can see an example of it here. And of course, this is not to scale, and our Photoshop is not very good. So this is essentially what it will look like. So this building was built in 1907, is listed as contributing in the downtown district, and based on city ordinance B, C, and K, the proposed alterations are acceptable, and then of course, taking into consideration the side guidelines, this fits right in as far as it's not covering up architectural details, it's not illuminated, which would be inappropriate for downtown, there's nothing flashing or really sticking off the building or anything like that. And so I'd be happy to answer any questions. It looks like the applicant could not join us today, but I can answer the best I can, and if you have any other ones, we can direct them to them.
Thank you. Okay, do we have some questions?
Yes, I'll ask.
Go ahead.
Question. It looks like we have two railings, so it's not every letter being put into the wall. We have these two railings. Are those railings going to be spaced where they can easily put it into the mortar and not the brick?
Yes. I believe so. We looked at the facade of that building, and there's been signs here in the past. And so we will give direction to the owner that we would rather have them in the mortar instead of the bricks. But there are only a couple actually anchor points to the building. So not every single letter is going to cause a hole.
Okay, well, that's good.
That's my concern.
Anyone else?
I have a random question. Do we have
Yes.
a color palette, a selection of historic colors that, so
That's-
it's anything?
That's not our purview.
Okay, no, I just
really,
didn't
but,
know if we
uh,
did. Some places do, and I don't know
Actually,
enough.
we don't.
No, we don't.
Yeah,
We
interesting.
make recommendations or,
Okay.
you know,
I just-
suggestions.
Yeah, there is a standard Benjamin Moore historic color
Exactly.
palette.
That's
Yeah,
what I
that's
was
the palette I
thinking
know,
of.
but I didn't know
Uh-huh.
if that was part of parcel the city had adopted or not.
No, we don't have a specific one for any of our historic districts. We have pointed people to the Benjamin Moore one if they need direction, but since HLPC doesn't decide, we just kind of tell them, here's an option, and there are
Go
some
for
other
it.
ones in other
Okay,
cities
so
as
it's
well.
okay. I just had to ask.
Yep.
Okay, all righty. Then, do I hear a motion, for COA 2021-008?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we accept COA 2021-008 for the Merle Norman sign.
And it satisfies B, C, and K. Thank you. Do I hear a second?
And paint, and
I'll
wood,
second it.
wood paint and repair.
Wood, paint, and repair. Yes.
I'll second.
And we have a second. All in favor, state aye, please.
Aye.
And
Opposed?
Ann is a plus.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ann doing that.
Written down.
So cute.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you before you got to the news.
We'll have to watch if she does it.
Yeah.
I know, it's nice that it's right in front of me because I can see when she pops up and
Yeah.
does something, so should be good.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see, what is next? Okay, a COA for property located in Downtown Historic District, COA number 2021-009.
Yes, so this item is for us to discuss really the style of these crossing markers that our mayor has requested. These pedestrian crossing signs, they will have on-demand activation with LED flashers, and essentially they would be at the corners of East Main and North Pecan, which you can see arrows here, East Main and North Church, and then East Main and North Mound. The reason these are brought up is because downtown has become very busy, which is great. We have traffic going through downtown, people trying to find places to park. We have so many new businesses that we have people walking everywhere. And if you've crossed these 3 street corners, it's a little terrifying sometimes because we do have on-street parking, so you almost have to be out in the street before you can see if a car's coming. And so this is right kind of in line with, you know, life safety things as far as traffic lights that will be put up, but they are deferring to Hlpc to decide the style. And so the styles we have to choose between are essentially just a plain green pole or a dark green fluted pole with a decorative base that's similar to our antique street lights, which from our first slide, I believe. So they're similar to this one, not exactly the same. There's a little bit bigger on the base, the fluting's a little different, but they do match more closely with the antique street lights. And so this is kind of up to Hlpc what your preference would be between these two different styles.
How would we deal with this? Do we just vote, option 1 or option 2?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
Hlpc would make a recommendation of, as a board or a committee, we've decided that we would rather have, you know, option A, the straight pole, or option B, the fluted dark green decorative one.
Okay.
Well, now I have a question, because this says actually installation. So do we need to also determine whether or not these can be installed first and foremost? And then if
Yes.
so, then what kind?
Yes, and essentially it's confirming that these 3 locations are okay. Of course, there are certain things like setbacks that our street department determines, and since it is kind of a public safety, life safety thing, they'll go in kind of like traffic lights and have the same type of setbacks. Yes.
So then, if it's feasible for these locations and all of that, then we get to choose option 1 or 2.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Well then, I think that we should just, all in favor of option 1, state aye.
Are they okay to go in?
Is that okay to do it that way?
We shouldn't.
I don't
Yes.
really know.
So first would be
Oh,
the
no,
location.
I guess we should make a motion to.
You could make a recommendation of these,
This is odd.
of these locations with style A or B essentially.
Okay, all right. Do I hear a motion that is, in reference to these locations, and a motion for option 1 or option 2? And then we could vote on that. Do I hear a motion?
The first motion would be accepting that we are gonna put them in the 3 locations.
That,
Okay.
yes,
How about we
that's
just
sort
do
of
that?
not in our, yes.
It's not in our
That might be
purview,
too
though, is it?
confusing.
Yeah, no, it
Yes.
is. It is.
Yes.
Installing them is in our purview.
Okay.
Right,
then
right.
I make a
Okay.
motion that we approve the 3 locations.
There we go.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor, state aye.
Aye. Ann's in favor.
Aye, says.
Ann's in favor. Okay, now do we vote on the option one? Okay.
Option one or option two, and option one is the straight dark green
Right.
pole, and option two is the fluted decorative base.
Okay, all right. Do I hear a motion with a preference for option one or option two?
I so move.
I'll make a motion that we approve option two.
Thank you. Do I hear a
second
second?
that motion.
Thank you. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Yes.
In looking at these pictures, I never figured out which one was the green straight pole.
It's the one
It's,
that's.
it's the
got it.
one
It's
right
here where
here.
the arrows are and the
And
cross
it's
sign.
so
Yeah, it doesn't
boring.
look- I
And it,
couldn't figure it out.
I know,
And
it's real ugly. I'm very
It's
glad y'all
really
went with option two.
Downright ugly.
absolutely.
And I appreciate y'all dealing with this unconventional request, but we wanted to make sure if we are gonna install some of these things that aren't always the prettiest, at least we do the best option possible and
Right,
keep our public
right,
safe,
right.
so.
At least it
I was-
goes with them.
I hadn't seen these before, and I was doing some reading up on
Yeah,
other
they're
historic districts that
everywhere.
have used them, and they apparently have been great improvement on
Mhm.
pedestrian safety. So
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
important.
You smell that same too.
Absolutely.
Although some people still just,
Oh,
Oh, well,
Well, you
cross the
can't
street
change
willy-nilly.
people's behavior, you can only suggest it.
We're doing our best to keep them safe and not from darting across the
all you
streets,
can
cause it
do.
makes me nervous downtown.
Okay, all right, now, let's see, what is left? Oh, we need to discuss and consider the granting extension of historic restoration grant for property located at 330 East Main, HRG number 2020-005.
So this request is for 330 East Main, which is the former Godtel building. The first time y'all heard about the HRG for this building, the initial award for 16.8% of the final project cost, not to exceed $30,150, was on December 3rd, 2019, was when it was approved by Hlpc and council. The applicant has received one extension so far. She requested an additional 11 months to complete the project for an extension date of August 28th, 2021. She requested a second extension on Wednesday, August 18th via email with Hannah Anderson, stating circumstances beyond her control, such as COVID-19, lack of laborers and materials affecting the progress of this project. If this is approved, the new due date would be August 28th, 2022. And as always, staff does not make recommendations on HRGs and their extensions. But I'm happy to answer any questions I have, but it does not look like we have the applicant here with us.
so how much, because these extensions have come up, I mean, in the past. Usually there's a bit more information about what's gotten done.
Done, yeah.
And I don't remember everything. Obviously, it's a large project at this amount. Do we know how much they've gotten done from granting to now?
They have not submitted any progress reports or photos to us or any receipts thus far. And so at the last time Hannah Anderson spoke to them, they had not fully started. So I believe it was still kind of scheduling, ordering supplies, finding laborers, things like that. So to our knowledge, at least nothing has been done to the outside that's kind of under the purview of this grant.
I just drove by there, it looked, let me put it this way, it looked cleaner than it was.
And they may have
Less
done some
traction.
cleaning, they just haven't submitted any receipts or any scope of work that's been completed, so they may be doing work that we don't know about, but they have not communicated that to city staff.
Yeah, just on previous ones, there's been an update. We got this, A done, A and B done, but not C, D, E, and F.
Right.
But it has been a global pandemic. I guess my one concern is this is a big chunk of money sitting out there for our
It is.
funds.
I
I mean,
thought the
granted, if they
same
don't do
thing,
anything, it
yes.
comes back, but,
Right,
we always wanna be turning that money around and
right, and
having to
it's
do stuff.
being held waiting for them.
Yeah.
I thought the very same thing. And I didn't want to be a bad person, but, I don't know. We need to,
I'm
we need to look at it.
Does anybody else have any comments?
progress report would be nice.
Would have been,
yeah.
yes, would be nice.
Would be nice, but-
Exactly, so we could,
Cause at least you'd have receipts on materials that were already purchased.
Yes, and we have not received any of that. And so they may have those and just haven't submitted those to staff, but, like in the staff report, those were, the quoted part is what we received in an email. And you also have a copy of that in your packet with
Yeah.
all of their, correspondence with staff, so that's all we've received at the
Yeah,
moment.
it just wasn't clear on what, if they're still in the planning or the functioning
and
part.
do they live in Dallas?
I am not sure. The business address is in Dallas. So I know the business is at least there.
So,
Anne has raised a hand.
yeah, well, she typed in a comment,
A question?
or,
Yeah, open the queue, it says.
You see, you can do it from there.
Got the spaghetti.
where the comments are, is there a comment, a chat section?
Oh, wait, Cece, go to the. Oh, and we're having to do it from that computer too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, there it is.
There we go.
there.
What did she say?
A progress report.
Progress report and also a plan and timetable for going forward. We should request both. I agree with that.
So,
I think that's reasonable.
I'll make a motion that we approve, another extension, since we have been in a pandemic and I know there's a lot of stuff going on. That we approve, the extension to August 28th, 2022, HRG 2020-005. That we expect it to be done, but however, with the caveat, should it not be done at that point, we will be expecting clear progress with a full report and a plan and a clear plan and timeline for anything that is not done at that point, because that will make it 3 years at that point.
Right,
Is that
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
she had?
that sounds good.
She wants a progress report and also a plan and timeline. And I'll be honest with you, in building construction, we always have timelines. So if any material's been purchased, there should be one.
Right.
Absolutely. And we will reach back out to them as well once y'all have voted, and ask them for a little bit more details on what has been done, if anything, and then convey the committee's wishes as far as by August 28th, 2022, we need to see something.
Yeah, well, presumably done, but, yeah, if they're not done, then,
Yes,
Yeah.
then,
they're gonna, yeah, well, at that point,
Exactly.
they're gonna have to, we're gonna be telling them up front that we would want
right.
the a full progress report and plan and timeline.
I mean, could you not request a timeline at this juncture?
I don't know.
Or at least request for what's been purchased material? If nothing has been purchased and there are no purchase orders, they're not gonna meet their deadline.
No,
Well, it is a year.
They should
Yeah.
be, they at least ought to have purchase orders
And staff
because
can,
that's
for
gonna be a
materials,
big
so that's a
job.
long lead time.
yeah, and staff can have conversations with them and request kind of updates, and we do tend to pester people, because I wanna,
Good.
it helps with my accounting as well. So we can request that, the committee can request it if it's part of the motion as far as to approve or deny, things like that, but we
Okay.
can't say in 6 months, you just bring it up on a random agenda. So we can request it as part of this, or in August of '22.
I would like to see it requested now, quite
Okay.
frankly.
All right, well, nobody seconds my motion, so does that mean it dies?
It dies.
Okay.
So I think we need to make another one.
Go for it.
Well, what if we make a motion that we will approve it for, is it August of
2022.
However, we require a timeline
And a progress report.
and a progress report, like now? Now?
Within a
That would be
month or
good,
so-
within a month, by the time we have our next meeting.
I mean, one of the other options is also
that's-
for the committee to table their request, pending, some sort of progress report is the other option.
I think that's a good
Actually,
option.
that's a very good
I
option.
think that's a very good
I
option.
like that, let's
Yes, me
table it
too,
until we
me
see a
too.
timeline and a
Yes.
progress report.
Yes.
Because if nothing's been
We're not
purchased, I
saying
don't
no,
think they're
we're
due
just
serious.
tabling it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, because it might be, you haven't done any of that, you're not serious about it.
We kind of have, more clear progress and a definite plan and
Do we
timeline.
need to have a motion to table and
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
Why
so
don't you
I
make
make
a
a motion to table this until we receive a progress report and timeline.
Thank you. I'll second it.
Okay.
All in favor state aye. Aye. Opposed? Good, thank you.
We
And
want
Ann was in
color
this
glossy photographs, 8 by 10, with circles and arrows on the picture of exactly.
Along with
Pictures
that-
of any cute contractors.
Well, because there's bound to be a plan, they have to have a plan,
Yeah,
some architectural drawings.
they do. need
Have
a
they
plan.
been submitted?
Right, and our next meeting will be October 4th, so it's a quick turnaround again. You'll get another agenda from me next week, just since this one was pushed off from September 8th, we did not have a quorum, so you'll be seeing a lot of me.
And,
Okay.
and our meeting
a
is
Monday?
adjourned.
Yes.
And once
Monday,
again,
okay.
we are
Mondays are
efficient
fine.